here on the main stage. But meanwhile, I'm joined by Groove, Mr. Konstantin, and Alex, who will help translate to make everything a little easier. First off, happy birthday, sir. Did it warm your heart that your team was like, oh, we love him so much?
Ну, тебе понравилось то, что мы так как бы просто за тебя всем сердцем?
Да, естественно, было очень приятно, то, что ребята сделали такой подарок, выиграли две самые, пожалуй, важные игры, которые были у нас на этой неделе, против ЕГЭ и против Fnatic, и сказали теплые слова после матча. Как бы для меня, пожалуй, это был самый важный и самый приятный подарок, который только можно было получить в день рождения.
So Groove is really happy. He says that it is a really good birthday present that we have won 2 games against EG and against Fnatic, and he says that it's like one of the best presents that like after the win we say a lot of warm words to him.
Okay, you won versus EG, you won versus Fnatic, but overall it seems that you're having, it's not like it's a stomp overall. How come that it seems that the playing field is so even here in Europe?
Мы выиграли против Фнатиков и против ЕГЭ, но это как бы не стомп, не игра в сухую, а теперь это более равные игры. Ну и каково это, как это в Европе?
Мы расцениваем ЛКС в правильном, как мне кажется, направлении. Надо иметь правильный подход к лиге. Самое главное в лиге — выигрывать игру за игрой, неважно, насколько, скажем так, это тяжелые игры для твоей команды, насколько вы идете там вровень. Самое главное — набрать как можно больше очков. Поэтому та команда, которая быстрее всего адаптируется к этому формату соревнования, та, мне кажется, и успешно пройдет в летний сезон. Так как для всех профессиональных команд в Европе сейчас это несколько новый формат. Приходится выступать против сильных соперников каждую неделю, при этом очень много путешествовать. Это весьма изматывает.
So Groove saying that everyone, it doesn't matter if it's Stomp or no, or even game at the LCS, because it is the new system and you have to adapt to it. So much more important to just win the games, no matter how you win. And it is like not every team. It's really hard to adapt to this system, and he thinks that we are going really right way. Like winning the games and thinking of how to win the game, not like Stomp or something, because it's not like bracket system, it's league system. And he says that it's still really hard time about traveling and stuff. So? Yeah.
Talking about that traveling, how is your housing situation? You don't have a house here in Cologne?
Ну, как обстоят дела с гейминг-хаусом у нас в Кёльне?
Поначалу мы просили о том, чтобы у нас был гейминг-хаус в Кёльне, но после нескольких недель игр на ЛКС мы поняли, что это на данный момент совершенно не является актуальным. Мы прилетаем в пятницу, у нас практически нет времени на тренировки. Мы отдыхаем, суббота-воскресенье у нас игры, в понедельник мы уже улетаем домой. К сожалению, из-за того, что мы граждане Российской Федерации, на территории Европы мы можем находиться ограниченное время, всего лишь 90 дней в течение полугода. Поэтому мы должны постоянно летать из Германии обратно домой. В связи с этим сейчас гейминг-хаус не представляет собой никакой надобности. Мы просто не будет у нас возможности тренироваться в нем.
So at the first time when we just were planning LCS, we were thinking about gaming house at Cologne. But now we think that we really can't afford that because we come here at Friday and go away at Monday most of the time. And the thing is that as the how would I say, as Russians, residents of Russian Federation, we can stay at Germany 90 days of 180. So 90 days of 6 months. So we have to travel, we must travel all the time back to Russia. And because of that, we come at Friday, get away at Monday. We can train at ESL studio, but it's we still have no time, no training time, and we're fine training in Russia. So now I think we are not going to have gaming house in Cologne.
Okay, a final question. Your teammates wished you a family for your 30th birthday, but some people say that maybe having girlfriends and all is distracting. For Alex, this is for you also. Do you think that Alex now having a family is distracting for the team? And is the only family member you need your belt?
Многие считают, что как бы мы пожелали тебе на 30-летие семью, но многие считают, что семья отвлекает. Каково твое отношение к семье и каково твое отношение к тому, что у меня уже есть семья и в принципе как бы вот.
Как мне кажется, женщина является больше тем человеком, который тебя поддерживает, является дополнительной мотивацией, которая превосходит любую другую мотивацию. Если у мужчины есть женщина, которая его поддерживает во всем, такого мужчину не остановят никакие трудности, и он добьется самых высоких своих целей и высоких достижений. Поэтому, мне кажется, семья и любимая женщина – это те вещи, которые помогают любому мужчине, но никак не отвлекают. Просто надо уметь совмещать работу и семью.
So the woman is one of the most important parts of the life, and if a woman is supporting you in everything, like if she's supporting you in gaming and then it is not distracting. It is more like it helps you to get every achievement you want. It is the best motivation that the man can have, and the only thing you need to do, you need to combine, how to say it, to have at the same time, you need to spare time right. You need to spare your time for family and for gaming, your work, everything you are doing. So something won't break the other.
Okay, thank you very much, the two of you. Now we're 12 games into our Super Weekend here in Europe. Next up is going to be SK Gaming versus the Copenhagen Wolves. Will it be unlucky 13 for SK? And will the Copenhagen Wolves get another win? Or is SK taking home another victory? We'll find out in just a second. Let's go to our analysts.
Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And happy birthday to Groove there, or Konstantin, as we like to call him. Having an interview in Russian, despite the fact he does actually speak English, because I've had chats with him many, many times. But I guess he wanted to be in his native tongue, which you can't fault him for that one.
Fair enough.
Of course, joining us here is N-Rated from Fnatic. You can follow him on Twitter. It's at Fnatic N-Rated.
_N-Rated.
N-Rated. At Fnatic_N-Rated.
Yes. Yeah, it was on the screen. It was on the screen,
of course. But I just wanted to make sure we get that out there for you, because you've been brilliant on the desk. You know, it's great of you to come on with 2 losses today. It's not great, but we do have some Twitter questions for you that we've had. The question was, what North American players would you match together in a fantasy football style All-Star League, and to basically compete with the European League of Legends Championship Series? So we did have the first response. We've had a couple already today, of course, and you guys are actually coming up with fairly similar answers. Graysby has come up onto Twitter and he said Voyboy, so we're seeing a pretty similarity there again on the top lane, but Chowster in the jungle, something that, you know, he's the shot caller for CLG. Mid lane Nijaki, which you said yourself, Double Lift as the AD carry, and X Special as the support, so mixing up the lanes as well.
Would you agree with the statement? Full aggression out of that Mishta.
Full offensive.
I'm not sure if it's full offensive or not, but what I see is that's like a point of view someone has that watches LCS. Sometimes players get really hyped by the casters themselves, like, for example, Doublelift. He's an extraordinary AD carry, no doubt, but he's getting even more hype because casters love him. And I think this whole matchup is a strong matchup, no doubt, but they have very strong individual characters, and I don't think they would match together. And being offensive, the lanes themselves, I think Nijaki is not the most aggressive player. So I would rather say no. Like Chauster, Nijaki, and X Special are not the most aggressive player I know.
You know, you talk about Double Lift. Obviously, you played them at IPL 5 in Las Vegas in the last November, December time. I don't know, they're all melding into one. But and actually, he had a few things to say about the bot lane of Reckless, didn't he, at your time? But you did manage to win out that lane.
Well, the point is, it's not about individual skill at a certain point, just the team skill comes in. I think individually he has an edge over most of the other AD carries at the moment. I think there are only a couple that are mechanically on his level, but I think his decision-making is doubtable sometimes.
So, I mean, he excels in the team composition that CLG run. You know, the full defense, basically protect double lift.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he takes a step back all the time and tries to lure the others in, and it works for CLG. No, that's what's mainly about it. Like, if a lineup works good together and the synergy in between the lineup works, why wouldn't he play like that?
Indeed. Now, we have another response. It is from a Maladroit Thief. Interesting name. It is Voyboy, and Scumbag Crepo.
Now, apparently, Crepo has become an American in this question. First of all, that's point number one. Point number two, for Voyboys, how would he do in the jungle?
That is a good question. I guess we would see some extraordinary picks right there. No, like, I can understand why people cheering for one character, which is versatile and plays a lot of champions, and I can definitely see him playing different roles. So why not rating him in 4 positions?
Yeah, well, I mean, he is a man that benefited heavily from EU West going down at one point, and when, of course, went over 50,000 viewers on his own stream. That's not bad going.
Definitely not.
You're going to be happy with that. I think his wallet was happy for that, let's say, ladies and gentlemen. But we do have another question. It is from Nikolai Nib. And the North American All-Star lineup, simple. It's called Team Curse.
Well, if you take a whole team, you can basically not do anything wrong because they have their synergy, they have their practice, and yeah, it will definitely fit together. That's the biggest part of it. But I think just taking a team is not what the question was supposed to be. You want to see which player you want on each position. And I think you should have chosen characters and not a team.
Well, I want to ask a question about that. If you were to pick Curse up right now, the fact that they would have watched, you know, Fnatic's games, the fact that you have had the ability to watch their games, and you were to play a match against Curse right now, do you feel that you've got the answer on how to beat them, their composition, and what you've been seeing so far?
We might face them at CBIT, so I really have to dodge this question.
You won't face them at CBIT. They're not at CBIT, are they? No, there's no North American team.
Oh my God. Okay,
nobody actually qualified.
I can say, oh my God.
Yeah, not a single American team qualified for CBIT.
Yeah, Pain is there from Brazil, but I think that's the only outside of the Korean and the European teams that's taking.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. So you're safe. You're safe until the finals.
I would say we have the answer since we're watching America, and we're actually talking to Curse a lot about the meta and what happens. So I think we kind of know the vision on the game of both teams, and they could read our game as well as we could read theirs, and it would be an even matchup. It comes down to team skill.
It does indeed. So we have SK Gaming coming up against the Copenhagen Wolves. Obviously the Wolves on a bit of a streak, as I hate to say, looking very good today and yesterday. SK Gaming, it's game number 13. Are they, I would say, unlucky 13, but you know, with Wolves already on a streak, actually both these teams currently in the Super Week are 2-0.
Well, SK is a pretty solid team at the moment. They started practicing a lot more, and you can feel it in their game.
Why do you say it at the moment? What are you expecting to change that?
Some time ago, they were not the team that was practicing the most, but at the moment, they're in a good shape because they're training that much. So when it comes to the matchup Wolves versus SK, I will give it to SK, even though Wolves have a streak and they're maybe having their momentum. That means they can carry on and maybe win a couple of games more. But right now, I think the lineup of SK is too solid and they will get it.
And of course, it does mean that if we get to another 2 wins for SK Gaming, we're going to see a red-haired Ocelot at CBIT, which could be nice. He's promised his team he's going to dye his hair red.
Really?
Yeah. If they win 4 matches.
Well, let's root for Wolves.
I don't know. I think I'd like to see a red-haired Ocelot, I think, come by the time we reach Hanover. But ladies and gentlemen, you can see Bjergsen on your screen. He's been man of the match for the last 2 times. 2 wins they've picked up. He is going to be against Ocelot there. And of course, the commentators for this match, as Ocelot puts his glasses on and readies his headset, is going to be Joe Miller and Jason Kaplan.
Thanks a lot, Demon. So moving in then, is this going to be Wolves' 3rd victory on the bounce? They've already played SK twice so far in the European LCS. This is their 3rd matchup together. Is it 3rd time lucky for Wolves?
It very well could be. I mean, that momentum you gain from winning those games, especially the big game earlier today, it makes you feel unstoppable. It makes you feel invincible. And they have lost, well, Actually, the first game they met against SK wasn't that bad of a loss. They were actually winning a good portion of it. And even the second one, they were winning up to this one mistake Sven Skaren made. But they have so much research to look at. They have so much ability to say, hey, this is where you messed up. Let's not do that yet again. And I think they could do it.
Yeah, this could be a very interesting game indeed. Let's have a look at the two teams and how they're going to head-to-head here with Kevin, HyrqBot, Ocelot, Candy Panda, and Nif on the blue side for SK.
Isn't Wicked like the other one that always has his back to the camera? I don't know. I was just looking at HyrqBot's picture there. But in the red corner, Godbro going to be in the top lane, Sven Skaren in the jungle, Bjergsen, the man of the team right now in the mid lane, and the Test Deficio at the bot.
So let's have a bit of a more in-depth look. Just here and there, that actually one of the players here, not sure who at this point, but one of the players is actually playing with a completely different mouse in this game because his broke.
I wonder if it was, well, I'm sorry, I narrated. Maybe someone on Fnatic when they're like breaking their mouse because they realize they lost.
Well, they wouldn't be
twice
playing in this game, so that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
I meant earlier, like breaking their mouse because they lost twice.
No. Don't think so. Sorry to disappoint you, Jason.
I'm going to keep staring at you until it gets less awkward.
It's not going to get any less awkward, I'm not going to lie. So, 12 games in, we are at the Super Weekend right now. And I talked about third time lucky here for Wolves against SK. The number 13 is generally an unlucky number.
Yeah.
It could be for SK here as well.
Well, today's not Friday, luckily for them, because that'd make it even worse. But, I mean, it could be for SK. It could be their unlucky day. I mean, they were talking before on the analysis desk that if they win 5 games in the Super Week, Ross has to dye his hair. But, also it's kind of, he said this yesterday, he's like, if we get to that point where it's looking like we could possibly win 5, I might, throw the game. I might run into the other team, give him some kills.
I really hope to see Ocelot dyeing his hair. But I also hope from Wolves' side of things here that they can keep that, winning streak going because in the last 2 games, obviously, they've beaten Fnatic today, the team that were top in the league. That is a massive, massive achievement for any of these 8 teams in the European LCS. So Wolves certainly having a good time of things here in the last couple of days.
Yeah, you're really seeing the impact of Bjergsen onto his team. I mean, we talked before that, he came into the team 2 days before, 2 days of practice before they actually had to play in LCS. They finally had a week to practice, and he's just completely changed the team around. I mean, I don't want to discredit anyone else on the team. I mean, Sven Skaren played an amazing Xin Zhao last game. Everyone was doing overall just extremely well on their team, but it just seems like it was the little kick they needed, that little motivation or that little bit of experience to help get them these first victories.
Well, let's have a look a little bit more in depth then at these 2 teams that are going to be facing off. Starting here with SK Gaming, the man that we've highlighted for this one, HyrqBot. Obviously, he's going to be a big, important factor in this game coming forward, Jason. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, the junglers affecting those lanes, it can give you a huge advantage. It could be also a huge disadvantage if you feed over those potential double buffs. And he was the first one in European LCS that actually played Vi jungle. Actually used it in a match. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has any other special junglers, but he's really going to be a key part to his team. He really needs to help Kevin, who's been the rock of his team, I have to say. I mean, usually it's Ocelot, but Kevin, I mean, he's been playing outstanding just every week right now.
Well, of course, their opponents in this game, the Copenhagen Wolves, they were 0 for 9 coming into yesterday's last games, and they managed now to be sat on 2 for 9, so things going well for them. The Test, the man that we've highlighted from this one, yesterday he played phenomenally.
Yeah, he did. That Varus was it was spot on until that last death. I think he was upset with himself after that one, but he's finally reverting back to the Test that we saw in the qualifiers. I mean, he's a real big player for his team. And he's been showing he can play, multiple champions. His positioning's been very spot on, and as an AD carry, you kind of really have to have that. And he's really the kind of go-to guy if Bjergsen dies. I mean, they're the 2 big names of the team that can really help carry them.
So before we get into the Champions Lit phase, as we said before, SK have won 2 out of the 3 encounters. What are you expecting to see from these 2 teams in terms of those bans and picks?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's any specific champions that really gave him problems. We saw in the game that that Wolves played earlier, Bjergsen got banned out completely. I mean, he obviously played someone he was capable of using, but he got banned out with his most favorite champions. I wouldn't be surprised to see that yet again, but, a Vi ban, she's one of those champions you can't really deal with. I mean, it depends if the team can use her correctly, but she's really hard to deal with for a team to play, so they actually did ban her out. And then, of course, SK going for the Varus ban, which we saw the Test, just a phenomenal job against Oh, I did it again, against All Authority.
Well, we have Faris and Elise banned out there for SK. Wolves going to be banning out Vi, as we said earlier, and also Kassadin as ban number 2 towards Ocelot.
Yeah, we still have that Lux available at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a ban that was going to come out. And also Nidalee, because Bjergsen and Ocelot can both play that champion extremely well. It's really annoying to go against that poke comp when you can lose 30, well, sorry, not 30, it's 30% of your AD carry's health in one spear. But there is a Lux ban, and I would expect a Nidalee ban as well.
Well, that is obviously the Copenhagen Wolves' final ban there. You can see at the top of the screen, SK all ready to go in this one. Ocelot got his book there right in front of him. You can see he got pen in hand taking notes as he goes through the bans and the picks in this one. There's Wolves as well, as I said. 2 wins out of 2 in their last 2 games. And there is a Kale ban finally for the Wolves. Very
interesting. We could see Kevin, who's been playing a phenomenal Renekton. I mean, he played it against them last time they met in week 2. There's also Shen, which today, I mean, he's just been so deadly. He's been pretty much carrying teams on his back by getting extremely tanky and forcing that split push to really make the other team kind of react to it. And again, Nidalee is still open if SK or Ocelot wants to run that in the mid lane. I'm not really sure exactly who they want to go for. I mean, Sona is always a safe pick, and last time these 2 teams met, actually both times they met, they played Sona, or SK played Sona.
Well, the first pick for this game with SK Gaming, surprisingly enough, or not, as he gets through the ban phase, Xin Zhao.
Well, I mean, Sven Skaren played an amazing Xin last time, and he's played Show the last time or both times these 2 teams met. It's really hard to say that sometimes, but Shen being hovered on, I mean, why not? If he's been played so well earlier, if you feel like Godbroke is confident enough on him, why not pick him up? I mean, just that split push ability, that ultimate is just, it can really be a game changer. It really can.
Yeah, and we've seen that time and time again here. What are they going to go in with here as their other pick here first down the line? Shen, pretty much a certain, I'd say, from this first round of picks, although it's not locked in up until now, but certainly expect that to be the case. And Thresh, not banned out. We've seen him being picked and been really instrumental in the games that we've seen from him so far.
Deficio, actually, against all... I hate when I do that. When they played against All Authority the first time, he had some really good hooks that would lock Nono down the AD carry, and they would be able to blow him up. We saw him, actually saw him used earlier with EG versus Gambit. They locked down Froggen every time on his Nidalee, as long as they can land that nice Q. And Deficio, I mean, he's proven he's a very good Thresh, and it's just all about using it correctly in your composition. I mean, when we saw him played earlier, just the lanterns were so perfect. You would get that person out multiple times. Strong pick. I mean, why not if it's available? Yeah, Deficio's impressed me with the Thresh play that we've seen so far. Seems to have really stepped things up as well. Now they've had this time with Bjergsen and what have you. So he's certainly going to be giving us a show with that Thresh again. Question now, what are SK going to complement their lineup with? We've already got the Xin Zhao in there, and it's going to be a pretty fast pick. 2 picks there. Once they'd realized, okay, what are we going for? Grave Sona, picked up, locked in, job done. Yeah, I mean, that Sona, it's always a safe support, and you mix it in with the W offer for you. give Graves that extra armor, extra magic resist, stacked with his passive. He's really hard to push out of lane in that fact. And also, it's actually sitting on Ghost Flash, so I'm thinking he actually might go for Orianna as a pick coming up, because we've seen him use that last time he played. I mean, it's a little bit to look into, but, you know, it's a telltale sign. Gonna see us singed in this game as well. Oh, you would love that. I mean, God, bro, we've seen him do it before. He's so annoying. We saw the troll build with the Rylai's and the Warden's Mail. It was hilarious. Well, it works. That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, Singed is a massive factor. When we're talking about split pushing and whatever, you can't control him. That's a real problem. But either way, Copenhagen Wolves here picking up the airstream. We've seen in the qualifiers mainly how strong the test has been with him. And there is indeed the Nidalee pickup for Bjergsen. I have to say this. He actually messaged me before this game saying he played a solo queue game earlier, got a Penta honor. So, you know, he's feeling a very, we want us to call him the Penta Boy, which I think, honestly, that's something RNA would kind of use, the whole boy term. But, I mean, Nidalee, the poke comp is just so strong. You have a nice ability to disengage if you use the Thresh ultimate correctly and the Lantern. And I see you smiling. Why is that, Joe? No reason, Jason. I'm just happy to be here, as per usual. So last 2 picks then for SK Gaming. They've got their AD carry support locked in there. They've got the Xin Zhao, which I thoroughly expect to be in the jungle with HyrqBot. Obviously, it might not be the case, but I really think that will be that way. And now, what are their final 2 picks going to be, Jason? Call them out for us. I still think it's going to be the Orianna. You have a really nice ball delivery system with Xin. In terms of the last pick for... Oh, okay, so Diana works as well. I was completely wrong right there. But, I mean, we saw Kevin play Aurelia before. I think he actually didn't even die once in that game. And then Diana, I mean, she's just such a strong champion right now. Her tweaks she had happen to her. We've seen Scar use her time and time again in North America LCS. We've seen her used over in Europe already. And she's just so hard to deal with because that mobility, the ability to dive into the backline and the Zonias as well. I mean, it really catches the team off guard.
Yeah, a very go-in comp there as well. I mean, Diana's diving in, Xin Zhao's diving straight in there. You've got Aurelia right on top of them as Copenhagen Wolves hang over Swain.
I don't even think to say to that. That has to be a troll pick. We haven't seen him in forever. His damage. I mean, he's a good champion. If you can keep up with farm, keep up with kills, he's really spot on. But if you fall behind at all, you're not going to catch back up. Renekton seems more of a likely pick. And we have seen Godbro play him quite a bit, so there it is, locked in.
Yeah, Renekton coming in. Actually, we did have a Renekton for SK in the second time these two teams met, which obviously ended in that SK victory. So we've got the two lineups locked in here, Jason. Who do you think's stronger?
Well, if SK can get that engage on the Copenhagen Wolves, I think they'll just tear them apart. But if the Wolves play it correctly, they get the poke in, and they play it, spot on, I think they could take the game. The top lane, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lane switch, actually, because Renekton does counter Aurelia, like, pretty easily. That's why we see Wicked always play Renekton against his favorite champion, Aurelia. It just depends on how they play. In terms of just straight composition, I think SK has it.
But, I mean, we have SK. If you look at SK's lineup, it's really easy to pinpoint what they're going to be looking for in this one.
Exactly.
On the other side for Copenhagen Wolves, a bit more of a mixture because you've got Renekton who will be diving in there. Then you've got the massive poke coming out from the likes of Nidalee. Obviously, Ezreal there at the back. The hooks coming out of Thresh as well. What are they going for with this game? What's the aim for Copenhagen Wolves?
Well, make it to a little bit later in the game and then just hit that poke. I mean, we've seen against Authority use before Shlea, as long as you land that spear, you just have the ability to pop that hard engage right onto him. If you can land on the AD carry, which we've seen Candy Panda have a little bit of a tough time dodging skill shots over the past couple of weeks, I mean, that right there will give you the opportunity to just say, hey, let's go in. Yeah, they have a stronger head-on-head team fight, but we have their AD carry down to 10%. And Shen and Renekton can easily get into that backline and just tear them apart.
So there we can see on your screen Deficio. Swip over to SK Gaming and Nif, the support player here, on the end of the row. He's going to be pretty vital in this one. We've seen time and time again how those crescendos out of Sona are so important for everything once they get up to that level 6. I mean, we really pointed out the Against All Authority victory earlier on, where Corralius pretty much hit just one or maybe two of the important ones. The others were, well, nicely played if he was aiming to miss everyone, but obviously that's not the point.
Well, in week 1 for Nif, we saw him with perfect crescendos, kept hitting 4 or 5-man crescendos. I mean, if he's going to land them, or if he's going to play Sony, you know he's going to land those. And that's really going to be devastating for the Wolves. And here, Allstar just banging the desk, get himself pumped up and ready for this game.
Yep, and the beard is still there as well.
I think it's going to be there as long as they keep winning. It's power.
Yeah, he's had a look over at Shushi and he's been like, the beard has got to be, got to get that one growing off as well. So here we go then, Copenhagen Wolves versus SK Gaming. Third time that these two teams have met so far in the European LCS. Both wins going over to SK Gaming so far. However, the Wolves are on a roll.
Yeah, I don't really expect any kind of level 1 action happening right now. It looks like SK, just to be safe, maybe put a ward down on the enemy jungler side and then protect their own. And as well, I mean, Copenhagen Wolves, they don't have a strong level 1 fight. Oh, the Tess actually going to get caught right there a little bit.
Yeah, getting stunned up by Kevin, who then takes a Mystic shot for the pleasure. Well, it shouldn't be any problem. So that lane switch, as you said, is going to be coming down. They don't want that Renekton to be going up. Kind of surprised me in a way.
30 seconds.
I mean, yeah, because he does really get well against Aurelia, but they kind of want to just shut him down overall. And with Kevin seeing the test on the top side of the map, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a blue buff invade, which it looks like they might be heading towards.
Yeah, SK certainly looking like they're going to be delaying that invade up towards blue. Renekton is actually there. They're going to take the bush here. No wards down to reveal the current position. There is one put down on the ramp, though. That is going to give the entire game away. But will they be able to react fast enough? It's all well and good having a ward in there, but if you can't react to it, losing that blue buff and then moving over to the enemy's blue buff, then you can still have a big problem.
I think in the end, as long as you don't get that or you don't get first blooded right there, you're going to count that as a win either way, as they do finally start heading in there, and it will be spotted by that ward. I don't really believe Sven is going to go across that river to go for that blue, because there is currently a ward in the mid for SK, so they will spot that. We'll be able to counter it if they do want to. Yeah, pink ward put down there. Bjergsen is probably just going to be throwing himself over. I mean, I didn't actually, he does have the spear, yeah, at level 1. So let's see if he actually gets it over there. And he does manage to get the blue buff. Nicely done from Bjergsen. Oh, and that is why he's a mid player for Copenhagen Wolves, showing off that nice steal. And that is a big no-no for SK. Unfortunately, you know, AA is not playing, but you can't afford to let that blue go. If you're going to go for that invade, you're going to put that pink ward down. You're really going to commit a lot of resources to it. Oh, sorry, not the pink ward. Yeah, the pink ward down. Then you have to make it happen. Well, Svenskeren is in here, and look at the damage he's taking. Actually, Nif coming over. Ignite's going to go down. Svenskeren flashes into the middle of the team. First blood coming up. Ocelot going to secure that one, and SK just surrounded every possible path which he could have taken to escape that one. It was a good play in theory, but it wasn't necessarily needed. Now you gave Allstar that blue buff in mid lane. We have the battle of the blues in middle. I wouldn't be surprised if the junglers head over there to try to, you know, take it away from them, but it just didn't really seem needed at this point, and giving Allstar that early kill is just going to give him that ability to kill Bjergsen head on. Yeah, I guess, I mean, he's a little bit behind now on the lanes, but Bjergsen putting down good pressure, and he knows that's what he needs to do now. Obviously, both of those mid players do have the blue buff on as Bjergsen's spear, just clipping that minion as he goes through. But as you said, you know, Bjergsen secured that blue buff. All right, Svenskeren didn't have it to his disposal, but he thought, I guess, all right, I'm top side of the map here. I can go straight over from my red, and they're not going to be there in time. But as it happened, Kevin came down as well, which was just a great read from SK. It was because of that ward in mid lane that we're seeing. We mentioned it earlier. They spotted him going across the river. They made a big play off of it, and I don't really think, well, obviously, they didn't really expect that to happen, and they paid the price. HyrqBot just waiting. They've actually pinged his position from this one as a spear will land. Good range, good damage onto Ocelot early on. She's starting with the double fairy charm for this, as the test actually pushing in onto this top lane as well. Going to get slowed down there. Obviously, Kevin having more HP than him there, as well as in the bottom lane. Nif getting pressured by Godbro. Can they force him away from this one? Just about. Nif still level 1, Godbro level 4, and it doesn't take a genius to realize that that's dangerous territory for any Sona player. Yeah, both solo laners are playing perfectly well right now. They're able to get, well, in top lane, the AD carry low, and the bot lane to support. They're really showing their presence, and they're keeping up in farm at this point. They're going to be very deadly as this game continues, and we know how annoying Renekton can get with just how tanky he builds, and Aurelia, who just gets so strong late game with that true damage and with her you know, ability to not lock her down because of her passive. And we see their first shot for Ezreal picking up the Vamp Scepter. Obviously got that Doran's Blade in there from earlier on, but as you say, Godbro doing a good job here, really forcing the pressure down onto SK's bottom lane. Nif dropping dangerously low, but in the end, surviving that one as Godbro will just slice and dice in and out of that one. Svenskeren joining into this bottom lane. It's certainly not surprising as he just walks straight in there with those minions, so no kill going to be resulting from that one. But of course, SK did secure that first blood, and as such right now, got a 500 gold lead. I believe Svenskeren, wow, I can't say his name. Svenskeren went down there just to make sure that turret didn't take too much damage, because SK is being so aggressive down there. They're putting a lot of damage onto it, trying to go for an early tower and then switch it up a little bit later on. So he's just, you know, protecting it, getting a little bit of experience. Since he did miss the blue, he did die. I mean, I was obviously able to take that one, but he was a little bit behind, and that helped keep him in the game. See, Ocelot doing a good job of keeping up on the farm in this one, actually approaching a 10 CS lead at this stage. Irelia and Renekton bang on even almost there as well. We do have Irelia with that red elixir just to give that extra boost should it be needed. Just gone home there and actually picked up the Giant's Belt as well, so that's a nice initial pickup, nice and early as well, coming out of Irelia. Yeah, he's going for that early Warmogs, which when don't you expect that out of a top solo laner anymore these days. It's going to make him just really tanky. Oh god, bro, just get in some damage, but it's going to make him very tanky. And the thing is, if he goes for a Sunfire Cape as his first item, he's really going to shut the Copenhagen Wolves down quite a bit. I mean, if he gets into the back line, they cannot really kill him, since the only AP they have is made for poking. It's not made for the upfront damage. There we go, Bjergsen has now hit level 6 as we saw him going in there
in Cougar form on towards Ocelot, which not sure he could be thinking about winning this one. Svenskeren just off to the backside of that lane. Ocelot obviously did see his position, not going to be caught out by that one, but I really like how SK have been playing this bottom lane as well. Nif knowing that if Godbro at full HP decided to go for him and he was too far up that lane, he could have probably got the kill. Candy Panda got the ability to keep him out of range though, using that zoning power, and really Nif, all he needs to do at this stage anyway is be healing up anything that Candy Panda loses.
Yeah, they're really winning this lane trade, I have to say, right now, because they have that turret so low. If you look on the top side, I mean, it's not even at half health at this point. Kevin farming decently well, not as much as Godbro, but he already has a Giant Splitter in his lane to help him out just yet. But we do see him heading up towards the top side. HyrqBot might be able to pull off a play here, and he's sticking to the left side of the river, or not the river, sorry, the lane, because there is a ward in that tri-bush.
Yeah, he should have actually snuck through there without them seeing, as he is going to get into that lane. And, well, Tess and Deficio were already fairly far back from that one. As soon as he comes in vision of the minions, then all is good. All is safe from that. So, back again from Renekton. I say again, that's like the first time he went back, picking himself up Giant Spell and boots, getting a ward in there, adding to those pots as well. So he's going to be even stronger coming down into this bottom lane. For the AD carries, as I mentioned, Vamp Scepter for Ezreal, BF Sword straight in there, no messing around for Graves.
Yeah, no point for him to get boots early. They're giving some really nice ward coverage on the bottom side, and he really just wants to get that turret down quickly and then switch lanes eventually in a little bit. We do have, I mean, Company Wolves are still being aggressive on this top turret. They have it very low now. But Kevin, I mean, if we see any presence from the jungler, he can easily pick up a kill here, especially onto Deficio.
Yeah, Tess there just taking one hit from, HyrqBot coming through, but it's kind of surprising. They pinged that a ward was put down there earlier, but he's still hanging around. As in this bottom lane, actually, we are going to see the turret going down, but in the top, we see the flash coming around. Deficio going to get knocked up here on the third. The ultimate coming out from Irelia. Can they finish this one off? Ignite is going down. Deficio very, very low, but Svenskeren coming in from that bottom side as well. The Tess got no mana right now as Bjergsen comes around the side. The spear just flashing by. Well, they should stay safe from this one. The question is, can they hold that turret? As Nif and Candy Panda, they are pushing Godbro right back.
Yeah, they have to pretty much give away that top turret, but their bottom lane trying to, pressure them back, trying to make them pay for that kind of four-man dive, or not dive, but pressure on the top side. But with Deficio backing, he should be able to help Godbro enough that they can defend this turret without it taking too much damage. In the meantime, though, Company Wolves are still pushing the top, so it might be a bad trade for SK.
Yeah, still pushing that top lane as Deficio does come down here, and Candy Panda, upon seeing that, say, let's not get hooked with what they got here, as Ocelot actually going in on towards Bjergsen. They've got that blue buff, so cooldown's going to be low, and he is going to dive in here. There is actually Bjergsen just about getting away, using that barrier, as we see Deficio coming in as well. Can they lock him down? Not quite. Ocelot managing to dodge everything here, will flash in the end, didn't want to get taunted up by Svenskeren.
And that should be a sign for Copenhagen Wolves to make a big play on him in the mid lane. He has that blue right now, and if you can deny that away from him, you're going to be well off. The thing is, Bjergsen, he needs the blue. He needs to be able to just hit you over and over and over with the spears to kind of siege you down, and not to mention stack that tier. He went for a chalice, which it kind of shows you that Wolves aren't necessarily comfortable enough to defend their own blue buff. So he picks that up just to have that sustain with the mana. But also getting caught, no flash, he should be able to die here.
They're going straight onto him, down to less than half HP already. He is going to die in this one. It's the Test that picks it up. There is the box down from Deficio as they focus in onto Candy Panda. He flashes over. Wolves not going to follow in from that one, but Xin Chao is low in the middle. Double kill for the Test. He's got the double buffs on as well as Bjergsen is chasing him for Candy Panda. Where's the spear as he goes behind the minions? That's going to save him for now at least. But what is Bjergsen going to pull off? Actually decides to run back off.
That was so close, but a great job by the Wolves right there. They got that nice fight that they wanted. They knew Ocelot's flash was down. Like we mentioned before, they want to go for that fight, and now they should be able to take the dragon off of it.
Nicely done there from Copenhagen Wolves. That leaves them with over 1,000 gold lead. 10 minutes 45 seconds in. Let's have a look at some of the item pickups in the last few minutes. You see the Stinger coming out from Diana. We've seen obviously that Nash's Tooth being the item of choice coming out first. From that side of things, Irelia added in the Ruby Crystal and the Rejuvenation Beard as well. So heading, as you said earlier on, no surprises.
Yeah.
Up to the Warmogs. Renekton on the other side though, looking like it's definitely going to be that Sunfire Cape from his side. as there is the Sorcerer's Shoes as well from Italy. Kindle Gem picked up by Shen, so a few more items coming in across the board.
And, you know, this game is kind of balancing on a knife's edge, and it sounds a little bit weird to say only 11 minutes in, but if SK falls behind at this point against a poke comp, they're just going to get so far ahead that they can afford to engage 5-on-5, even if they don't land that spear, and they'll be able to overpower them just hand over fist. I mean, Svenskeren, he's getting a little bit tanky, has a Kindle Gem going for that lock of the Iron Solari. We have the Sunfire Cape coming out of Godbro very soon, like you were saying. If they get tanky enough, there's not really nothing SK can do about that. So they have to be careful here. They need to make sure to farm up and not give away any more kills.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that the test 2 for 0 at this point. Got that Bloodthirster finished up. Svenskeren heads towards his top lane. Kevin actually putting down some damage onto Godbro here. Well, how is that one going to end? Svenskeren is level 6, does have Stan United available as well, so that's something that SK really have to factor into the equation this far along, as Bjergsen going to get dove on here by Ocelot, and there it is, the Shen ulti coming down. Can they lock them in? Actually, the taunt will land on HyrqBot. He takes a spear, but they're going to focus down Svenskeren. Here comes Graves from the side, gets it with the spear. Ocelot will pick up that kill. Nicely done, but in the top, Kevin and Nigodbro going to be hammering away at each other. And well, I think to coin Demon, it's like two fat lads in Grimsby fighting over a fish and chips. That one, there's not really any way that they should kill each other. I don't expect you to either.
But anyways, SK making a play off of that, knowing they just killed their jungler. They started pushing that mid lane, but Bjergsen then in a nice spear was able to push them back, and that's the upside to having in Italy. If you can land those spears, you can stop a siege on the enemy's part, and you can force your own, which they're doing currently.
And can SK hold on? Like you said, spears, the Mystic shots out of the test, they're going to be hurting as well at this point of things. SK trying to hold on. Candy Panda gets in. He's like, cheers, Nif, for blocking that one for me, mate. That was really nice of you. And he was at max range as well. Well, they have managed, at least for now, at least for this wave, been able to stop the push around, as we can see that Bjergsen coming around the side. The blue buff is there for the taking. Ocelot starting that one off, and they've got the vision from that Nilly trap, so they know that the blue buff's there, and they'll probably say, you know what, you have your blue buff here, we're gonna have your turret.
Yeah, and that's kind of a really weird trade-off, but I think in the end for SK, it's kind of worth it. They can't afford that blue, let that blue buff go away. Also doesn't have any sort of regen to help him out with that. And Joe, you know, talking about the tests, because we mentioned him being 2-0 already, in the games they've won earlier, we always talk about Bjergsen being the key player, but he was always solid. He was always having a really nice amount of kills, nice amount of farm, and he really opened up the game for them, and he's doing that yet again for his team.
Yeah, he was most definitely a contender. I think, to be honest, we were thinking about him as the MVP before that pentakill from Bjergsen yesterday to finish off the game. And if someone does that just before they win the game, they've got to win the MVP. So yeah, the test has really stepped up in the last couple of days, and so far this game not looking to be any different for him. As SK here coming in, there was the flash coming out, and well, for nothing in the end.
Yeah, he wanted to go for that crescendo, but Wolves reacting to that perfectly, did escape, but trying to, well, they're pinging on Allstar at least. They do have 4 members in this mid lane. It looks like they are going to try to secure this turret, as Godbro, I mean, he's been pushing this top lane, keeping Kevin there non-stop.
Yeah, doing a really good job of that one, as we do see the spear landing in that time towards Ocelot, as Kevin now in trouble. Godbro gonna go in for this one. The Ignite ticking away, but that's not enough damage, but he's forced him out. The test throws down the True Shot barrage. That didn't land, but they've done a good job. They've forced him away, and now they are going again towards this middle outer turret.
Yeah, actually, we do have an engage already happening.
Yeah, Deficio getting hit there by the crescendo. Ocelot, though, down to half. The spear comes in again, and SK have to back off. They just can't fight when they lose those large chunks of health like that.
And not to mention the key summon, or the key ultimates they need. That crescendo is a big portion of their ability to get in there and do a hard engage. Not to mention Zen getting in there on top of that. But that was such a great play by Godbro on the top lane. They're backing out right now because they're low on health, and they are going to be giving away this turret, which, I mean, I'm looking at you right now and you're just confused. Like, why? Why are you letting this happen?
Well, I mean, with the heal in there as well from Nif, they can get themselves back up as long as they don't have the threat of those spears coming in, which they've seen. And now Copenhagen Wolves have done really well to that point to get the turret so low. We're forced back. Like, okay, guys, we're all a little bit too low. Let's go back. And SK knew it was going to happen, and that's exactly why they just pushed straight back and took the turret.
And now it looks like Copenhagen Wolves are going to do the same, and that's always one thing that really annoys you, and it really makes sense, is once you take that mid, you seem to back away and leave your own mid turret available to be taken, and it just makes no sense at all.
Yeah, Bjergsen going to be the one that takes that down, and that will bring Copenhagen Wolves back to 2-2 in turrets. They have a 1,000 gold lead. Just a little bit less as the spear comes through. Long range secures Bjergs in the blue.
See, I love what Godbro was doing in the top lane. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but he was being very aggressive. He was keeping the lane pushed up, and it forced Kevin to be there. And through that, he took Kevin down very low. He had to back out. He had to go heal, and that kind of makes SK respawn. Do we go defend the top turret, or we defend the mid turret? You're eventually going to lose one of them, and they in fact did. So he's doing an amazing job, and now Dragon back up. Copenhagen Wolves try to take this, and SK looks like they are just going to let it happen.
Well, they have 4 men coming around the side as Nif loses instantly half of his health to that spear. And that's with just a blasting one in there as well. A little bit later on, Bjergsen is going to be, well, I mean, he already is hurting a lot, but that's only going to get worse, I'm afraid, from SK's point of view. They're going to have to start finding a better way to dodge all them. As we see Copenhagen Wolves moving down. Diana just waiting off here in the wings, and, well, Copenhagen Wolves knew it as we saw the spears coming out there from Bjergsen towards Ocelot's general position, who, by the way, does now have that Nash's 2 finished.
I think this game is really going to come down to how well SK can engage and how well Copenhagen Wolves can disengage. Yeah, you need to land the spears, but that's the key factor, the key thing you want to work on when running a poke comp kind of thing. And SK, I mean, they have a lot of experience. They've been together for quite a while now. I think they have the ability to get in there. We don't see any kind of Shiralias built just yet, and their only way to get in there is with HyrqBot and Kevin, and they haven't really been in a position to do that, unfortunately, because Copenhagen Wolves has been playing just so perfectly at this point.
Right now, Ward's put down. SK trying to starve the Copenhagen Wolves, taking away everything that they can from their jungle. And as the AD carry that pushes up this middle lane, you saw HyrqBot and Ocelot waiting off to the side, and that's the real nice thing that they have in this comp, the kind of range to really get in there when the Wolves don't expect it, when they see, all right, there's 3 in the middle, we don't know where the other 2 are, so we are going to see Ocelot going in. Godbro will just slice his way back towards that turret.
Yeah, he can't really, that's a really ballsy move by Ocelot. He can't really afford to do that. He doesn't have an out besides that flash. He doesn't have a zone is built, so he can't pop that and let his team come in. And if he gets hooked by Decisive, which we've seen him land quite a bit before in earlier games and today, then you're not going to escape at all.
Your life is gone. Quicker than you can expect as well once that Thresh hooks you in.
And with how fed the test is at right now with his items, with the attack speed buff out of Bjergsen, they're going to get another turret if you lose one member.
And let's have a look at the gold here, because we can see there's quite a big difference in CS between those 2 AD carries, despite the fact that the test does have that 2-0 lead in kills, and we can see that he is 400 gold ahead at this point. Middle lane, Ocelot got the advantage there. He's also 23 or so CS in the lead. Top lane, 4,700 to 5,500. 30 CS plus the 2 assists coming out for Renekton, and that leaves him in a good position. And Copenhagen Wolves have now picked up that Oracle Elixir, moving up towards the 20-minute stage. They're going to be looking to make some plays off it.
Yeah, I love this idea out of Decisive. We heard HyrqBot talking about it around the 20-minute mark. You kind of want to get that first Oracle. They know they have an advantage right now, and by them being invaded upon, SK, you know, you're talking about before starving them, they have to kind of get control of their own jungle back, and with an Oracle they can do that and go a step further. They can be aggressive in the enemy's jungle.
There's a test just trying frantically to get back on the level of Graves' CS at this stage. 185 to 149 at this point. And pretty much across the board outside of that top lane, all right, in the jungle there as well. Also a little bit, we see the Locket of the Iron Solari finish second, Giant Spell added into the Sunfire Cape for Renekton. Aurelia did go for that Sunfire Cape earlier on, not the Warmogs that we maybe would have thought with the way that she actually built.
Yeah, she kind of had to because of the test, because he has those 2 kills for his team. It's not really going to help him too much. That's because Renekton, he has an armor shred when he uses his slice and dice, and that's really that's one thing that Moscow 5 then and Gambit now did with everyone stacking health, stacking armor. They use that slice and dice off Renekton, and then the last whisper off the AD carry to just destroy them. It's like they were paper to you.
So we talked earlier on about the need for some kind of get out, some kind of safety button almost for Ocelot. See, he's picked up the Seeker's Arm Guard there, and that is going to be headed up towards that Zhonya's Hourglass to give him that ability to get in, do his initial damage, and then say, you can't touch me for a while.
Yeah, that's a really dangerous position. If he does complete that item, and then SK starts forcing some fights, the Wolves might have a problem, but the poke, I mean, as you saw right there, it hit HyrqBot, took him down a good portion of his health when he's already very tanky. It's just really up to, I have to say, Bjergsen. If he can land the spears, he can just pretty much make SK back off.
Well, bit of a stale period again, and kind of to be expected with just a 2,000 gold lead, turrets even, kills even. Neither team wanting to make a mistake of this one. And SK, obviously, at least the 4 of them want to make sure that they get these wins all in a row, so that Ocelot does in fact dye his hair red. Not sure he's in the same boat with the same feelings on that. But Dragon is coming up in just over a minute's time. There is the Oracle coming into play again. Deficio clearing out the pink.
See, what SK just did right now is they denied the blue from Bjergsen. We've seen them do that before. We've seen EG do that to them specifically when Allstar was running that in Italy, just to make it so he couldn't, you know, siege all day.
And you have the Bloodthirster last whisper for Ezreal. He just finished that on the last time back. Zeal, on the other hand, for Graves. And what are Copenhagen Wolves doing here? They've pushed down the middle as they saw Graves in that bottom lane, but will they be able to put sufficient damage down onto that turret? And especially with Diana and Irelia there, that's like 2 of the biggest goer innerers for the team. That is a new thing. No, goer innerers is a lot more fun. So they need to be careful with, you know, just how far they push on those turrets, even against the 2 of them, because between them they can delay, especially if Nif's there to lock them up with a crescendo.
Yeah, that's very true. And luckily for the Wolves, any kind of chip they do take, it's going to be healed up by Nidalee. Udas Svenskirsten actually kind of being caught right there.
Yeah, and there is a crescendo, and he catches 3 of them. This is game on for SK. Deficio going low, not killed off just yet, as we are going to see Shen getting back into the battle. No kills up until now. Svenskeren will flash away. The Tess has flashed away. Candy Panda quick draws in. Barrier gonna save him, and Candy Panda thought he got it there, turned around. He may even be able to double up. Bjergsen gonna be slowed by that red buff, and after all that fighting, only 1 man dies. But look at the flashing pictures on the right of your screen. Godbro, Bjergsen, Deficio, they were all super low and just in time for the Dragon. This is a big win out for SK.
And that's what we talked about earlier. If Nif could land those crescendos, they can open up an opportunity for them to win those fights. We talked about in week 1, he hit so many of those 3, 4, 5-man crescendos, and you see right there, he still has it. He still has the ability to do it, and Wolves, they just got caught.
Still got it. And yeah, like you said, we saw some spectacular ones from him already in LCS, over the top of the walls in the jungle and stuff like that. He has been a big part of things, and that's what you get from a Sona. You know, a good crescendo is everything in these team fights. So let's take a look at where we're at with gold now. 30.6 thousand to 30.9. So very close. Still 2 all on turrets. SK now have that kill lead. Obviously 2 for Ocelot, 1 for Candy Panda on the other side. Both kills resting with the AD carry, the Tess.
And the Tess kind of went for a really squishy build at the moment. He has that Bloodthirster with the last Whisper, but you know, if he can just position himself correctly, which he's proven over the past couple of days that he can do, then he shouldn't really be caught at all in these fights.
No, but they've got... I'm a little bit worried here about how they're going to really protect the Tess. I mean, at the end of the day, he's Ezreal as well, so you know, he can move away on his own accord. But to be honest with you, SK have got that composition where they can get right to the back, and there's not that much that can really stop them doing so.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the, well, not the point of their comp, but they're trying to not let that happen ever. By disengaging, obviously, they didn't do it that well in that last fight, but by Bjergsen hitting those spears, they just won't have the ability or the health to dive into the backline, and if they do, he should be able to take them on 1v1. There's no one really to defend him, minus Deficio with his ultimate to kind of slow them down and give them that breathing room, but you're against Irelia who can slow you or stun you. You have a Diana who can pull you back, Xin who can knock you up and slow you as well. He's going to have a really tough time unless the Wolves have these fights play out exactly how they want them to.
Well, next few minutes again. I'm expecting to be fairly slow on that front as we see the lantern thrown out by Deficio. He's like, give me all the armors. I want that back. But yeah, I'm expecting these next few minutes to be a little bit slower here as both teams again, you know, they realize that they're close on gold, that the kills are close, that you know the items on both sides are actually pretty similar at this point. So it's going to be all about positioning, and you know, when one team really feels like, right, we've got the perfect initiation, it's time to go. Like we saw in that last fight with the flash crescendo coming out of Nif.
Yeah, and the thing is, every time these teams have met so far, in week 1, we had Copenhagen Wolves had a really nice lead. Oh, actually, they didn't have a really nice lead, but they had a decent lead, and they made one mistake. SK took advantage of it and won the game. Game 2, game 2 they met, same thing happened where Svenskeren got a little too aggressive in the mid lane onto an inhibitor turret. He took a lot of damage, SK engaged, and won that fight and won the game. They took advantage of every little mistake the Wolves have kind of created, but with the way how the Wolves are playing today, they haven't made too very many mistakes.
Yeah, and we have a good 30 CS lead right now still for Ocelot's Diana. Renekton still does have the advantage over Irelia as well. Got those 2 assists in to help. Both teams got that locket of the Iron Solari. Both top laners got some Fire Cape, plus another Giant's Belt, plus another Ruby Crystal in there as well. The mid laners, let's touch a little bit on that because we've got the Zhonya's finished for Ocelot, as we are going to see True Shot Barrage coming across. Deficio's in there. There comes a crescendo. Both Deficio and Svenskeren taking a lot of damage here as Svenskeren all alone is going to get pulled in there by the Lantern. Going to save his life. And again, they don't lose any men. The spears thrown back down. SK are going to try and do a hit and run on this blue buff, which they will manage to take away. But they've pulled Candy Panda in. Can they kill him off though? No, it's going to mean the end for Deficio. Here comes a Crocodile. HyrqBot gets hit with a spear. He goes back in towards the test. Sun United going to come around. Kevin is focusing down, gets the kill on Renekton, but here comes Svenskeren from the side. He's all alone, but the test is still hammering away. The spear's coming in. The test focused by Ocelot. They can kill Bjergsen here as well. Is he going to be able to get in there? Ocelot, not quite. Well, SK pick up a 1 for 3.
That was exactly what the Wolves needed to do in terms of defending that blue buff, but unfortunately, SK was just, there was too many there, and they were in the jungle where they could just catch them off guard. That was such a really good play out of Svenskeren where he backed with those home guard boots and ulted him with full health, but the taunt, that 4-man taunt that was perfect, just didn't have anyone to back it up with. If Godbro was alive, that would have been a completely different fight.
So we go back into the quiet times, and as you said, Jason, probably 17 minutes in, I think this game is really on a knife's edge. Like, it's so close at this point. We just saw in that team fight that Wolves were there, and then they said, no, let's not get involved. Svenskeren's like, yeah, let's get involved in this one. I'm back now. And in the end, they lose a 1 for 3, which the next time around could be the same for SK.
And you can't afford to do that with the poke comp. I mean, once you fall behind, even Krepa said this, then you're not really going to come back from it unless the other team makes a major mistake. And I don't, SK is just not the team to really do that. Well, at least unless they're against Fnatic, then they kind of maybe would, but that's Ocelot.
Yeah, yeah, we heard from that. It's like, we don't really throw games away unless we're playing against Fnatic, which we
yeah, those were his words, not mine, by the way.
More than on one occasion from that. So, you know, there's still plenty on the line here for Copenhagen Wolves. This is definitely not a done deal as Candy Panda on his own in the middle. Double bust, that's a nice target for Copenhagen Wolves, basically painting that target on himself when he's got blue and red swirling around him there in the middle. That'd be a nice pickup for them to be able to take, but pretty much just bait from Candy Panda as we see Kevin now pushing this top lane. Shen gonna come across from the side. Actually, there's a 3-level difference between them. Kevin now got that Warmogs finished as well.
You know, we didn't really, or I didn't really touch on this during the last fight, but Deficio picked up a brand new Oracle and lost it in that fight. And that is something as a sport you can't, I mean, it's a little weird to say, but you can't really afford to do that, but sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself. But the money's invested into those Oracles now, that 800 gold. He could have, you know, had an Aegis done, he could have had a Shirley's done as well. As I see SK right there, pick up another dragon.
Yeah, when you see True Shot Barrage come over the top, but he wasn't low enough anyway. Gave them the vision, but only just to see that the dragon was about to be taken away from them. And that increases SK's gold lead now up to 40.3 to the 39,000 gold that Copenhagen Wolves currently sit on as Graves got another chunk of farm that keeps him nicely in the lead. I mean, 40 CS currently there or thereabouts over the test.
You know, I would love to see Deficio pick up a Shirelius right now and then have some split push action happening for Svenskeren or maybe Godbro, just so they can get even more tanky or some more damage. We see, you know, Godbro, he has a Warmogs, has a Sunfire Cape. He's really hard to kill, but Svenskeren's the one that's kind of really, he's not behind because a jungle Shen will never have obviously the same items as a top lane Shen, but if he just gets a little bit more tankier and is able to provide just a little bit more cover for, you know, the test, then those fights should be pretty easy for them. And there's really not much, you know, SK can do and besides a flash crescendo, really.
Yeah, but they've got that Shirelius in there as well, which is,
yeah,
for a composition like this, it's like press the button, get in there. That's what they need to do. As soon as they feel like they've got someone within their reach, they're going to collapse on them and take them completely out of the game. But again, that more relaxed and reserved, I guess we can call it, period coming in as both teams figure out what's going to be coming up next for them. Obviously, Baron has been there for a good 15 minutes now. Neither team really spent too much time around it. There is finally a ward, and as I say that, the SK actually pinged straight over to Baron just in time that the Copenhagen Wolves ward did just time out there.
This is a very tense moment in the game. I mean, we're 31 minutes in. You still have some outer turrets available for the Wolves at top lane. If you die here, you have a really long depth timer, so you could lose a couple of turrets, you could lose Baron, and the other team, or both teams are fed enough, have enough items that they can push these turrets very quickly. So if you're out of position, we could see that, you know, the base races we've been seeing today, where one team will, well, the Wolves will have a complete disadvantage.
Yeah, and as such, I don't think going to even get involved in something like that. And you see that inner turret in the bottom lane being taken away.
Yeah, you saw Godbro, I mean, he was at the top lane, and SK took advantage of that. They 5-man pushed that bot lane, got the turret, and are baiting them with that ward.
I saw the spear actually landing there onto Kevin through the wall. They're looking to pick this one up. Officio again got an Oracle, so he's piled a ton of money into those Oracles so far. Can't afford to lose another one.
And luckily for him, you know, with his passive, he's going to get extra armor from the Soul, so that'll keep him without having to pick up any kind of defensive item. But the Shiralia, I mean, that's what they need. If you see SK have one, you need to disengage when they have such a strong engage. You have to pick up that item, because all you really have is that ultimate, and, you know, obviously, if you pass through the wall once, it breaks, and the rest of the team can get in.
SK again going to push this middle lane out, going very by the book at this point. Obviously, they've taken that inner turret in the bottom lane. Top lane is actually pretty much fully intact at this point. As SK move across the side, there is a pink ward put into the brush. And are they going to be able to get rid of that one in there? There's still full vision coming out for Copenhagen Wolves. There we go. There's another ward down for SK. And they are right up in this jungle, and I don't expect that Copenhagen Wolves, just judging by their pings there, they're not going to be even thinking about going anywhere near that top side of the jungle right now. Ezreal just putting as much poke through as he possibly can. And also spotted Graves' position down there.
Yeah, it's a good response by the Wolves to actually start pushing that mid lane and force them out of their own jungle so they can, you know, breathe again and get back in there. But, you know, SK, they're doing a great job, and this is, you know, the Wolves, the situation they're in, when they fall behind, what we've been saying before, with the poke comp, you typically stay behind, and that's because, you know, SK can stay in your face by pushing your turrets, and you can't really siege the way you want to. You can't keep hitting the spears over and over. Kevin actually face-checking that bush, gets caught with the Q out of Thresh.
Yeah, but can they kill him? That's the question here. There are 4 men, and if there was ever time to kill Kevin, this would be it. And look at that, they take 1/3 of his health, and they can't do anything more than that.
And he's 2-0-1, Warmock, Sunfire Cape. He's just that immovable object that it rarely becomes late game.
That was Candy Panda quick drawing in as well to do a good chunk of damage down onto Bjergsen. See Ocelot coming back with the almost full makings of that Rabadon death cap. HyrqBot chasing Bjergsen away as well, and neither team wanted to commit whatsoever here, Jason. Now, I mean, this is 10 minutes now that this has been going on.
Both teams realize, though, it's like we've been saying, it's on a knife's edge since 17 minutes in. If Copenhagen Wolves get a really nice team fight and they come out with the victory in that, they'll be able to siege again. They'll be able to push and keep SK on their back foot. But if SK wins a fight, there's really not much Copenhagen Wolves can do about that if SK just knocks at their front door.
So here we have Kevin then going onto that outer turret in the top lane. They're going to go in onto him. There's a crescendo use. Svenska and he's dead. Kevin on a killing spree up at 3-0-1, but in the middle of the jungle, HyrqBot and Ocelot get involved here. Here comes Candy Panda over the side. Actually, the buckshot will miss completely, but Godbro going to be taking a lot of damage. Ocelot got hit with the spear. Ooh. There's a true shot barrage. Just clips the leg of Ocelot as he tries to dodge around. Here comes Nidalee from the side as well. Nice flash away from HyrqBot to keep him alive, but the spears keep on coming through, and the Tess is there. He's full health. Deficio looking to get a pull onto someone as the Tess has to go away. They do pull Kevin in there. Wrong target, I'm afraid. Nif will secure that kill, and now they start to flash in aggressively for more of this one. Bjergsen, the target, he's going to use barrier. Kevin gets in there with the stun. That's another kill coming down for Kevin. He is on a rampage at this point. Dragon up in 8 seconds, but who cares about Dragon when you could have a go at Baron?
And that's what we're talking about, Joe. If Copenhagen Wolves gets in a situation where they, you know, lose 3-4 members, as you saw right there, they're just going to fall behind. SK, they're just so tanky. Deficio, unfortunately for him, couldn't pull in the right target because Kevin was just in the right position at the right time, and they turned it around against them. And a 4-0-3 Aurelia, a 3-0-6 Graves, and a Diana who has almost a death cap and a Zhonya's. I mean, that's a lot of damage and a lot of tankiness.
Yeah. It's just a bad position. It's slipping away here from Wolves. And again, they've not had a bad time of things. Something that we saw earlier on in the games from Copenhagen Wolves was that they definitely didn't have bad early to middle games. It was later on that things started to fall out of control for them. We see another Oracles picked up by Deficio. I'd love to see technically how many. He must be up to 4 now.
Yeah, I believe he's at 4 currently. And I mean, it's the right move and the wrong move at the same time. You're trying to get the vision back in your jungle, but you kind of need another out. You need that Shurelya's built up. I keep harping on it, but it's really true because we saw right there, if SK can get that engage on you, even if it's somewhat not a really strong engage, they're gonna take these kills and take the fight.
See Void Staff finished off here for Bjergsen's Nidalee as well. Some Fire Cape for Shen alongside that Locket. On the other side, the Aegis gonna be done for Xin Shao. So overall, things looking very good. AD carry-wise, Graves, Blade of the Ruin King, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, Trinity Force, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper over for the Ezreal. As the wards come down towards the blue buff of Copenhagen Wolves. It looks like SK want to get involved with this, and actually Ocelot will be able to steal it away as they go in on towards Godbro. There's a crescendo. It landed onto Svenskeren as well. The Lantern going to pull Godbro to safety as they notice the test up on that top side. He's going to arcane shift away over the top of the wall, but SK keep controlling, keep clearing out the jungle of Copenhagen Wolves and make it risky every time they come out of the base.
And even though they didn't pick up a couple kills there, that was still a great play out of them, denying that blue buff yet again to Bjergsen. I think he's had maybe 2 blue buffs his entire game, and SK stolen away about 3 or 4. And they're denying Copenhagen Wolves the ability to do that poke kind of composition, and that's what their comp is about. And if they can't do that, then you're pretty much just dead weight at this point. But so, I mean, it really is anyone's game. Something big could happen. The test, he has a lot of damage behind him. If a nice Spirit does land onto Candy Panda or even Ocelot, you could have a really nice engage out of Copenhagen Wolves because you have a tanky Renekton, you have a tanky Shen.
One thing that they don't have right now, Copenhagen Wolves, is vision of anything. There we go, Lantern thrown in. We'll throw up the surprise of 3 SK members lurking to cause problems. Svenskeren is pushing this bottom lane out with Shen. He can join in a little bit later on, but again, they don't really know what to expect as Ocelot here waiting inside of that brush. Didn't decide not to go on towards Deficio. The rest of his team a little bit further behind him. No flash available for Nif. No crescendo yet, but they're going to be pretty much up at exactly the same time here. And that's when it gets really, really dangerous because with the Shurelya in there to get that extra little bit of ground covered and then the flash crescendo in there, there's not a lot that Wolves are going to be able to do about that one. And here you can see Baron started by HyrqBot and Candy Panda on the middle lane. There are 3 of them there just pushing up, and they have no clue that Baron was being done until the buff pops up on Kevin.
That Blade of the Ruin King doing so much work for Candy Panda right there. That 5% damage is just, it's amazing for going for objectives like that. I mean, Svenskeren was doing the right move. He was pushing bot, and as long as Wolves don't get engaged upon, it'll work out for them really well. But losing that Baron, a free Baron for SK, that's just not the position you want to be in at this point. And they're going to push his top tower. And Candy Panda, with the items he has and 356 CS, he is just going to put out so much damage that even Godbro can't, sustain against it.
Yeah, with that Baron coming in there as well, even better for SK. Really their game to lose. And, it's going to be a 5 versus 4 here until, obviously, Svenskeren gets involved. So they can probably let him keep pushing a little bit from this one. They're going to take down that inhibitor turret. Svenskeren is still down there. There is the inhibitor turret finally going down as we are going to see Deficio having that Stan United brought in, and are Copenhagen Wolves going to go for something here?
Don't do it.
It's 5 versus 5. No, they can't fight. I mean, SK have got Baron on, not to mention the advantages that they've got in a fight like this. As the test is going to get hit up there by Ocelot. Here comes a crescendo, gets 2 of them. Graves ulti comes in there. It's Svenskeren that gets knocked up, finished off in the end. A double kill coming out for Kevin. Sona picks up the kill on the inhibitor, and SK going to go straight towards the Nexus. Can the Wolves force them away? The spear's coming through, but they're ignoring them. Both turrets are down. The Nexus going to fall, and SK going to make it 3 out of 3 wins against Copenhagen Wolves.
Great job by then. I bet you Nif's back hurts a little bit with all those flash crescendos pulled off. Pretty much open up the entire fight for them. Unfortunately for the Wolves, their streak did come to an end, but they still have so many more games to play, and they've shown everyone that they can win. And they still played exceptionally well up to about 30 minutes in, where they just kept losing too many fights.
And now you saw the wagging finger from Ocelot saying, I think, No, we're not going to let them win 3 games out of 3. We want 3 wins again. You can see how fired up Ocelot is about being 2 wins away from having his hair dyed red for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships next week. But that was a great game, great performance from SK Gaming. That's it from us here on the caster desk. We're going over now to the analysis desk where Demon, Quickshot and Unrated are waiting.
Well, a little bit more controlled game that time around. I think it's safe to say probably the calmest game of the day. But still, a very good win for SK Gaming there because Wolves were looking strong again.
Yeah, Wolves pulled ahead early. They managed to steal the blue buff, which was insane. Then they take the blue buff away from SK, and then someone got caught. And then it made the matchup even again. So everything started even, basically.
The game was even for a very long time,
yes.
though.
Well, I mean, let's go through the picks and bans we had earlier on. Obviously, the Varus was taken away, so it forced Candy Panda into picking Graves, who at the end there seemed pretty strong, but you think he probably could have gone with a better champion?
I think Graves is not the best late game carry when it comes to the carries that Candy actually plays. I think Twitch scales best into late game. He pulled it out against us and it was very powerful. But there were many choices he could have went for, but I think Graves was also good because he was able to push the lane early. I guess that's why they did it.
So as it is, we saw Thresh again. This time didn't quite work out. How do you stand with the support? Obviously, as a support player yourself.
Thresh itself is very versatile. You can play aggressive, you can play passive. You have disengage, you have hard engage. You have a lot of potential from the champion itself. The only thing I really didn't understand was the lane swap going on because Ezreal and Thresh are very, very bad at lane swapping. They don't have the potential to push as hard, and even when it comes to tower pushing, they're not able to compete with Graves and Sona.
There was a talking point that we had right as that was going on. We were saying, well, Sona's available, and you could deny that from Nif. He's been very, very strong on Sona, and I brought it up and I was saying that, well, Deficio had a very good Thresh game earlier. It was a little lackluster this time. That the hooks weren't really there in the early and the mid game. Could that have swung things around, obviously, if they'd picked up a few more kills earlier?
I think it was rather about the value of the support. They were on the one hand, I'm pretty sure they were saying, okay, they play Sona, let's play Sona ourselves. On the other hand, I think Thresh has so much potential that they thought they might be game breaking. So they were considering picking it because they took a long time picking it, but in the end, the Thresh was just the pick for them.
Oh, and Aurelia, that's going to be the talking point that I want to ask as well, because we were discussing it and saying, well, we don't see a lot of her. Kevin has used Aurelia very well, and I don't think he's died on her yet. I stand to be corrected, but the last time he played, he had a really, really good game as well. Just did it as well this time. Is it just the items? Is it the champion? Renekton was there, the matchup, etc.?
The matchup, Renekton was Aurelia is not even at all. I think Renekton has so much sustain in lane that he can just overpower Aurelia at a certain point. Just needs level and basically wins it. So I would have guessed a lane swap from SK, but in the end it was Wolves lane swapping. That might have done something to do with the golems, but I cannot really say what went on in their mind. Each team has to decide it on their own. Maybe they just did it because it doesn't make sense, so it was not predictable.
All right.
We have a very happy Ocelot just dancing around off camera. But let's get into the replay. We obviously highlighted, really, it was the point towards the top lane. I wouldn't say early on because it was at 6-3. It was around about 30 minutes into the game, I think.
Yeah, about 34 minutes in, just to give some context for the matchup, there's only a 2,000 gold difference. We had seen dragons back and forth, we'd seen battles going on, but this was the beginning of the end because this is the fight that really gave them this massive advantage. Let's jump into the replay. I just want you to have a look at the minimap. You can see that SK Gaming are collapsing onto Svenskeren. Copenhagen Wolves are nearby. And Reddit, talk us through the play.
Well, first of all, there are not many wards going down for Copenhagen Wolves before this happened, so they decided SK was collapsing on Shen. He had flash up in that time, and he could have dodged the Sona ult, but he simply wasn't capable of the damage that was going on towards him. So SK used that moment to collapse even further and to go and get more kills. So they pick up Renekton as well, but there was the beautiful snipe by Ezreal, just getting Ocelot in the last second. Then HyrqBot dodges the last hit of Bjergsen, and I think at this point Wolves knew they were kind of low, so they tried to do something out of it, but face checking like this was completely the wrong decision, and they focused the tank, the only real tank on the SK lineup, Kevin, who went really full tanky, instead of just turning around, killing Candy Panda and deleting the damage that SK had.
Kevin was just such a monster. He had the Sunfire Cape, he had, I think, the Merc Treads and the Ninja Tabai, the Warmogs on there as well. Ate so much damage. If they had turned onto the likes of Diana or Gravers there, would it have actually made a difference in the fight? I mean, you kept saying they have enough damage to kill Graves, but not enough for Diana. How do they play that composition if they can only kill, one, etc.? Was there any team fight potential for Wolves?
Well, the main potential they have was Shen split pushing any lane, which they need wards for, and they just lacked vision. And on the other hand, they had the Nidalee, the poke, so it's really hard to push against Nidalee if they have any kind of wave clear. I think Wolves' lineup basically lacked wave clear, but overall, they could have played it better. Like, they could have played the Shen on bot lane, really pressuring hard, denying vision on Baron, creating pressure. I think they were just playing passive and trying to farm up, which was, in this case, just wrong for them.
Well, we did give MVP, of course, to the man that effectively picked up the two-man Baron for them. It was Candy Panda from SK Gaming, and he's been like part of that duo lane since about 2011, wasn't it? Since Gamed.
Yeah, first
Game.D.
Game.D.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's they were sticking a long time together. They actually split it after some trouble was going on in SK. They found together again, and they have a great synergy, and I think they're just mentally on the same level. And you see that in game. If everything's smooth between persons, you actually improve in game.
And speaking of AD carries, obviously you have Allstar as your partner now. You did have Reckless before. How is it going between the two of you? How's the synergy gone, obviously, since you've had to change out from Reckless?
Well, Allstar and me were always fine together. We are good friends.
Obviously, Against All Authorities used to be the partnership,
exactly. We had a long time where we played together, and we know how everyone works and who has the ticks, who has this. And I think we're just on the same level mentally, and we try to adjust our play style to the other one, and we find a way to get that going somehow. And yeah, we are improving still. We are still not on a level where we instantly do the same thing, and I think someone might have a slight edge over us, but we have the potential and we are improving.
Improving. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go over to the main stage. We do have an interview, of course, with SK Gaming. They have gone 3-0 over this Super Week, and it's going to be HyrqBot with Shocks.
Yes, thank you. I'm here with HyrqBot. Now, John, Candy Panda's MVP, and I heard you say that you had a terrible game for you personally.
Okay. Yeah, for me it was a very bad game. Well, we start to invade their blue because we know they were going to our blue. And, well, Nidalee just clear my blue. Then we go to our blue to don't be like in a very bad game. And we catch Shen. And, well, we catch up a bit, but I didn't even get the assist of this. So I was still very behind. And I think I get level 2 at 3 minutes, nearly 4 minutes. So it was a very bad game for me. But well, then Candy was very good in this game. He did very well during all the game, like catching people with red buff and stuff. And Kevin was fed as well. And well, also played very well as well, like crazy. And you know, with Diana, you have to go in. And every time he go in, he did it perfectly.
A lot of love for the team. From the beginning, you didn't ban out all the champions that Bjergsen played, what other teams do. So what were you afraid of besides him?
Well, we wasn't very afraid about their pick. We was more afraid about Unco position, I will say. And about Bjergsen, we wasn't afraid about him because Ose pick a lot of champion who can counter him pretty easily. So it was just picking OP and what they play the best in every lane.
Your CEO, Alexander Muller, said that this was going to be your hardest game of the weekend. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with him. Well, everyone, I think, thought Wolf are out of the league, but they show it this weekend. They are still in, and I think they have like 18 match until the end, and they can still stay in LCS, and they play very, very well recently, so we have to care about them. I'm very happy to this win, to be honest.
Thank you, and there was something you wanted to say to a special someone.
Yeah, I would say hello to my mother. She's looking every game of me, so hello, Mom. I love you.
C'est mignon. Merci beaucoup, John. Okay, Against All Authority has proved that they belong in the European LCS the past few weekends, but what can they bring against one of the favorites for this season, Gambit? We'll find out in a little bit. AAA versus Gambit.